So this Trump taking a step back from the immigration rhetoric thing. A lot of people on the right wing seem to be upset about this and confused and shocked and what's the word I'm looking for here? Betrayed. This particular video is about the Young Turks guy. I'm kind of laughing at coulter. I said from the start myself, okay, that Trump's position didn't like what was he gonna do? Was he gonna get into a fight with the farm producers in California? Like, did he understand what was gonna happen? And we can talk about the political usefulness of this kind of rhetoric, but everything that I saw suggested to me that Trump was actually unaware that the major benefactor of the current immigration status quo in the southern part of the United States is the corporate interests that control the American right. And if he was going to run as the Republican Party nominee, he'd have no choice but to modify his stance once he won the nomination. If he were to actually follow through on his proposals, you'd end up with hyperinflation in the price of food. You'd also end up with the collapse of the Republican Party because they would lose the major aspect of the donation base. I mean, what they get from, abortion people and everything, all that kind of thing, it's small potatoes compared to the amount of money that they get from these major producers to ensure that they don't get in the way of the flow of cheap labor. So yeah, this immigration rhetoric, it's a useful tool, it's a useful control mechanism, sure, but do not be confused by it. The Republican Party will never do anything to restrict the flow of cheap labor into the United States. And Coulter knows that too. She wrote a book about it. So she's just a troll. Okay? I don't want to really pretend that I know what goes on inside that brain of hers. But I suspect that she's actually probably fairly liberal. And that what you're getting is just a big joke. I think Ann Coulter and Donald Trump, the big thing that they have in common is that they're both it's performance art. Again, I'm not the first person that's pointed this out about Ann Coulter. Okay, you go back, you'll find lots of people pointing this out. That she doesn't... It's not even that she doesn't believe what she says. It's that she doesn't even expect you to believe that she believes what she says. She says outrageous things to kind of she's it's a parody of what she is, right? She's not what she claims to be. She's an actress who is taking the piss out of the right. Her vocabulary and her political opinions are in direct contradiction to each other. Not to say that I think she's really smart. I don't think she is. Or at least I don't think her character is. But she can't be as dumb as she lets on. Well, it's clear she's not as dumb as she lets on. It's an act, okay? And when I said that she wrote, when I said that she knows this, she wrote a book about how the reason that the immigration system exists the way it does today is because of the major donors and producers that are behind the Republican Party. It's not just that she knows that because she could not know that. She knows that because she wrote a book about it. And then she comes out and she pretends that, it's all a ploy, okay? Forget about Ann Coulter, she's a joke. But what Trump is doing, I think Trump... I see no evidence that Trump really understood what he was saying. I see no evidence that he really had a strong grasp of the ramifications of his policies, who he'd be fighting against. I mean, I don't think that Trump actually read any of Ann Coulter's work. I think that he probably saw some interviews by her on TV, which is the same thing for me. I'm not going to sit down and read a book by Ann Coulter. Everything that I know about Ann Coulter I saw in an interview and on YouTube, or she's been around long enough that I saw her on TV a few times. I don't know how anybody could have thought for a second, for a minute, that the Republican Party would ever do anything to upset the status quo. If the Republican Party is ever going to do anything, it's going to be to make it easier to get them through. But I mean, the amount of ignorance on this topic, we know it's, or if you've been watching, my rants here for a little bit, I certainly know that the ignorance is it's astounding on all sides. Trying to have an informed conversation with anybody about how the migrant system, or how the migrant labor system in the southern part of the United States works is very difficult. Ironically, one of the few people that I know that does actually understand the system well is Ann Coulter. And no, she never thought that was actually going to happen. There's no way.